such an interesting conundrum because, one, how many of you think that the amendments are written in a very clear fashion? Raise your hand.
They're deliberately obtuse.
I love, obtuse is such a great word. Man, I feel like you might have been a spelling bee champion your day. I'm just going to tell you, they do it on purpose. and it's funny because there was an opportunity to actually create a piece of legislation that would require the lawmakers to actually put the plain meaning of the bill on the floor, and it would ride with the actual bill language. But of course, they've killed it behind the scenes, and you wonder why. You know, it's not good enough to educate people about what they're signing up for. We want to make sure that we confuse people. We want to make sure they don't know what they're going to... You see the terms and conditions, you know, those documents they make you check on when you want to, you know, sign up for something, and it's got 100 million pages, and you don't know what you're doing, but you want to, you know, watch Netflix or Hulu or whatever. Let me tell you something. It should not, that should not fly when we're talking about constitutional amendments. When it's something so damn binding that we can't change it except for another amendment, like, we need to know what we're signing up for. And that should also go with legislation and bills and laws and things. And so, with this current one, I don't know if you know this, but, well, let's play a little call and response here. Can somebody tell me what do you need to be or what do you need to have, or what exactly is an eligible voter here in Wisconsin, or even in the United States? I think there's 3 specific things here, guys, and you can either try all 3 or you can just give me one thing. But raise your hand, give me one thing. What is an eligible voter here?
Age.
All right, and how old is that?
18.
18. All right, so we got one element so far. Citizen, okay, U.S. citizen, we got 2.
Photo ID, documentation.
You think about some extracurricular things for us Wisconsinites, but generally speaking, just like the most basic thing for a voter, what is that 3rd thing? There's
Not a felon.
Man, you guys are getting brownie points.
Vote, registered to vote.
You guys are getting close.
Proof of residence.
You need to be a resident. So, U.S. citizen, 18, resident, right? And you need to be able to prove your residency, right? Basic, real basic. Should be the simplest threshold, right? But you guys had some real, like, voter ID. Don't get me started. Because as a man that had to work on getting people IDs and birth certificates and social security cards so that they could vote in Wisconsin, like, let me tell you something. This amendment absolutely grinds my gears because it really alienates and stops to think about the people that already do not have government-issued IDs. And before I go on my diatribe, the amendment that I'm talking about that is on the November 5th ballot, so the current language that we have here to describe a voter in Wisconsin, and I'm just going to ad-lib because I don't have it right in front of me. But again, it's a very open language, and then it says every U.S. citizen, 18 years, and then it's very just open that way. The amendment that they're going to put on the ballot changes the language, so it says only a U.S. citizen, 18 years, and then on the very end of the language of trying to describe who a voter is, it gets very specific as to who this voter and like what they can vote for specifically. So you might be wondering at home, well, why, Nick? Why is that so important? U.S. citizens are the only people that can vote, right? Like, why is that such a big deal? Why should we care?
Because we're privileged enough to think that we are one until someone comes and questions that.
Wow.
We've always had that privilege.
Hey, my dog. That's true. And you know, it's a good frame to really think about it under. And I would even say too, like, one, it's just fascinating to me that we have to even do something so redundant like that when the bit, I mean, the law of the land here, like, it already explains who can vote. So why are we wasting time and taxpayer money to then push an amendment forward? It makes you wonder what is kind of under the surface. What is the plan,
It
right?
pushes out the underprivileged.
And who are those underprivileged people? Like, I mean, there's a certain boogeyman people have been drumming up here for some time. I mean, and they've been talking about building walls, and they've been talking about certain people eating pets, and certain people going out there and just, you know, casting illegal ballots. And it's just, you want to know something? If they took any time to actually watch how elections are administered, or actually gave a damn about the checks and the balances that took place, they would understand that that doesn't happen. There aren't, if you asked anybody that's like a DACA recipient, you know, do you really think after they watched years ago, like not that long ago, but during maybe like the last administration when people were getting deported out of here, that were illegal too, that were actually legal citizens? Do you really think that like people would jeopardize their status in this country to go cast a ballot? Do you think they want to go vote when they're afraid and they're watching people that look like them getting deported out of this country just to like make a statement? So my big thing is that I'm looking at this and I'm studying this amendment and I'm thinking about, okay, if I'm the bad guys, what am I trying to do? Holy cow. You guys. So we already have a voter ID law in place, and let me tell you something, that disenfranchises, so 10% of the voting age population does not have a government-issued ID. 4.6 million people in Wisconsin are voters. So if you apply that metric to the voting age population in Wisconsin, that means 460,000 people among us do not have a government-issued ID that would be usable for voting purposes. Do you guys, last time I checked, Wisconsin, the reason why people pay so much damn attention to us is because our elections are always close. We end up being the state that ends up deciding the presidency. As the nation, as Wisconsin goes, the nation goes. I know it used to be Ohio, but then, you know, Ohio, whatever. I mean, that's my old home state. Wisconsin is it, the dairy land. We do it here. But, holy cow. 460,000 people when this last presidential election was decided by 1%. So you're then going to tell me, all right, so we're going to change the Constitution to this very specific, from an inclusive to an exclusive word. So then it really feels like a precursor to potentially not only having to ask people to show a voter ID, but then, oh, well, how then can you prove that you were born in this country? How can you prove to me that you're actually a U.S. citizen in this country? What about that birth certificate when you come to this polling location? Show me that you're actually a U.S. citizen. You know how unfair that is? I mean, I have a birth certificate. I mean, like, for a lot of us, like, we try and keep that thing close by. But it ain't cheap sometimes to grab that. I had to help people, hundreds of people grab birth certificates. Some people who had no documents at all. It is a nightmare to try and get those things for people. People that are U.S. citizens. So you know how many people that are going to now want to have to stay home if we end up having to pass another restriction? Is voting supposed to be easy or hard in this state?
It's supposed to be easy.
But do you feel like it's getting harder every day? Again, it baffles the mind. And it makes you wonder, you have to look at why are we keep changing the Constitution in this state. If you look at the last 4 years, if you combine Ohio, Indiana, Minnesota, Illinois together, we have more amendments on the ballot combined than all of those states in the last 4 years. It makes you wonder why. We have a legislature that has made a very calculated decision that we want to get out from underneath the governor's veto pen. We can legislate through the constitutional amendment process, and we can put really bad policy and cement it into law, but put it in the Constitution, and we're going to have to live with it forever. And so my big thing is that we, like, the word amendment is supposed to amend things, to fix things, not make problems. And what they're doing is making problems. They're artificially creating problems with the amendments. And this is another one, and that's why I'm trying my hardest to explain to people why you should care about this. Why is something as simple as this, it's not as harmless as you think it is. Because you're opening the door with this dog whistle towards non-citizens. You're making non-citizens these evil people. They're taking the jobs, they're taking the votes, they're ballot harvesting, they're stealing the elections.
They're eating your cats and dogs.
Thank you. It feels comical, but you know, I was just last night, I stayed up till 4 a.m. Don't tell my mom that. Stayed up till 4 a.m. Watching HBO, and they have this documentary. It was about literally stuff on January 6th called Stop the Steal, and just watching just how brainwashed people come on very simple ideas that end up just spreading like wildfire. These conspiracy theories about our elections. And if you allow it to happen, how it can just take hold and take weight, and then people will never see truth because it's just, this idea ends up growing in their brains. And it's like, we need people to believe that their democratic institutions actually mean something at the end of the day. And that you can't just like play politics with the amendments in the Constitution. And that's why like it was so important to me, like I spent so much money and time and energy in the August amendments. Like the Democracy Campaign, we spent over $100,000 towards it. We sent 1.7 million text messages. We put up events all around the state. Like, we wanted to defeat it so bad because we knew what the history was. Do you know that in Wisconsin's history, since the Constitution has been around over 176 years, 75% of the amendments that arrive on the ballot pass? 75%, almost 200 years. So that means the threshold of being able to defeat an amendment is it's literally under 25%, all right? So to be able to defeat 2 amendments is history. On top of the fact that in an August primary, when the architects decided to try and slip one past the goalie when they thought low turnout was gonna happen, an amendment, when everyone should be able to come in and have some skin in the game. You're gonna make a decision that's gonna affect us for the rest of our lives. We deserve to be able to have a vote on it. They were like, you know what? We're looking at the calendar. We know a lot of people aren't gonna vote here. Probably can get this one passed. We broke a 60-year record on an August primary. 60-year record. 27% voter turnout during an August primary. And I know it don't sound like a lot, but it is massive. Because people don't get up during August. We're all over here like, man, the summer's over already. Damn. People don't want to vote. But we showed up. Who voted in August? No, I'm not going to shame you if you didn't. It's okay. I'm just telling you that it is to vote in August. Who plans on voting in November, though? All right. Well, it's okay. You still got time. I mean, I don't want to blink and then lose it because I feel like I was walking here with Myra and she was like, yeah, it's October 6th. I almost gagged. I was like, oh my God. So we're under a month now. But you're more powerful than you even know. I mean that so sincerely, and I look you in the eyes and I tell you that. Like, I'm not traveling the state and jumping on these calls and spending 16, 18-hour days just losing my hair and losing my mind because I legit think that we can do something special yet again and make history yet again. People are acting like, and they told me this right after April. They were like, why bother going after these amendments in August? You're gonna lose. You're gonna burn money. You might as well just take a pile of money and just light it on fire in a backyard. You know, like why are you even bothering? I'm like, that's like the kind of attitude that I expect from people that just, you know, you want the status quo for the rest of your life. Let's dream, guys. Let's believe that we can go do something special here, and we've been proving that. And that's why, like, in November, we have a real shot at doing generational change and being, you guys were a part of history in August, you guys were part of history in February, we got a chance to be making history again in November, and the textbooks, I mean, this has been a historic year in a lot of bad but good ways as well. We are going to do it again, but it takes all of us. It takes us being willing to communicate with people and try and break these really difficult, abstract things down in a real simple way. And with the constitutional amendment, I say, why in the hell are we doing it again? Why change the Constitution? Why? Why? We shouldn't be. Like, the Constitution is literally preserved for literally the most important things. Does a simple word change really sound that important to you? No. And is this really a problem right now? I want somebody to really, when they say illegal aliens or citizens that are non-citizens are voting, tell them to show you the proof. And if they show you the proof, I'm going to give you my phone number and then call me. I'll drive, I'll fly, I'll get on a scooter, I don't care. I will whip and glide to wherever you are, and I will love to sit there and I'll take it in, and if they prove it, I'll go on the record, I'll call up the media, and I'll say I was wrong, guys. I'm not afraid to sit on any swords and listen to music, whatever, listen to music, face the music. I do love listening to music, though. And so, this is what I'm going to close out with, and we can answer a few questions and whatnot, but like, seriously, you are a special group, and you and your experiences, the things that you've done up until this moment, it's the reason why I believe that we are really on the precipice of something great. It's why I believe that we have, when I'm looking at 2025, and I'm sorry to give you this fact, we have a Supreme Court race every year until 2030, so buckle up. I'm sorry. But the thing is that we're used to ads here. I mean, I've become used to ads here. It's just, I've had out-of-town people be like, man, all you guys have is ads on every TV station. I'm like, yep, that's just life. I mean, people are spending ungodly money here. We'll reform the campaign finance system after we get a better legislature, but we started it with the maps. And we'll get to look at less terrible amendments if we take advantage of these maps. But like, people gotta vote. If people don't show up and vote, and we get the same, kind of legislature that just is unaccountable and does not care about us, you can expect the same problems. And what is insanity? Doing the same thing over and over again, but expecting the same result? Expecting a different result? We got a real chance here. But I know it can be exhausting. But I sit here with my big old Red Bull, and I'm just traveling the state trying to just move and shake with you guys. And you guys inspire me every day. I mean it sincerely. I don't just say that as lip service. Like, every talk I give is a little bit different. Sometimes I laugh, sometimes I cry, sometimes I sit, sometimes I stand, sometimes I jump on tables. But my thing is that with you guys, like, I come into Mount Horeb, I'm getting ready to go to Dodgeville, and I just tell you, like, it makes me think that we are going to be rock stars when this all is said and done. And then I look forward to afterwards being able to think about just how far we've come. Because there's other states where I've gone to, and I've gone to Georgia, I've been in the South, and I've had to do voter ID stuff there, and it is sad, guys. It is, they do not get to enjoy the same kind of stuff. And I know sometimes there's days where it feels like we want to bang our heads against the wall because of just how awful sometimes the politics and the temperature can be here. It can be toxic. But like, if we're together in this and we keep like looking at each other and checking on each other and making sure that we're okay, I promise you. Like, while I'm here as executive director, I'm going to make sure to support you guys as much as I possibly can. And I will always have an open line to you. And you will always have an open line to me. And I care about you deeply. And I'm going to be always sending all the positive energy. And if there's ever things that I can do to lift you up and try and help, like, please know you have an ally in Madison. And I'm so proud of you all. The fact that you decided to forego football for little old me. I can't wait to see what the Brown score is. But anyways, I appreciate you so much. I'll open it up for questions. And again, you guys are rock stars. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I mean, and real quick, I mean, if you're voting in November on the amendment, what are you voting?
No.
What are you voting?
No.
What are you voting?
No!